Well, kia ora and welcome to Uncovering Authenticity. I am your host, Monique Bradley, and today I am talking with a man who knows more about me than I know about myself, and this is super exciting. He is immense and amazing and educational and really cares about well-being. This is Steve Bowers, chiropractor. Woo!
Thanks for having me.
Look, here's the thing. There's a bit of a challenge here because you know me probably better than I know myself, really. What is that like, getting into people's lives, getting all up in their business? That's a big job. That's a big question to start with.
It is, but it's sort of just part of the job as well. If you really want to figure out how to improve someone's health and well-being, then you've got to dig into, take off that top layer and dig into a little bit more.
What's really going on?
Yeah, for sure.
What's really going on? So how did that start for you? Why did you become a chiropractor?
I found that going through school, trying to figure out what I was just wanting to do, didn't really know, kind of like science, kind of like maths, was like, oh, maybe I'll do a science degree, and went to an open day at the Chiropractic College, which was 15 minutes down the road from where I grew up, and I was kind of like, oh, that's easy. I'll just go see what's going on.
It's easy, right? Yeah.
Exactly. The path of least resistance, and showed up, and there was a chiropractor talking about what it was. I'd never been to a chiropractor, didn't really know anything about it, and until then had never really had that spark or that light bulb moment, and then was at this open day and was like, wow, okay, let's do it. Jumped into the course at AUT, did the first year, was still kind of like, okay, if I want to change, I can just cross-credit my science degree and do something else, but haven't looked back.
Wow. So how long ago was that?
That was 2011 was my first year, 5 years of uni, 4 years at the Chiropractic College, and then graduated 2015.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot of study.
It's a long
study.
time.
I'm just thinking my degree, theatre and film, no doctorate yet, but I did, I think, 3.5 years, then I did half a year at film and TV school, and now I'm back doing my master's, which is 18 months, but I am going on to do a PhD as well, which I think is another 4 years. Why is it that we get spurred on by this education, and now you're in an educational role at the Chiropractic College as well? Why is education important for you? Because you're changing people's lives, not just your clients, but students' lives.
And I think education comes quite naturally in terms of when I've got clients in, certain issues going on. I think it's so important to change the way that they're change their lifestyle and the way that they are repetitively doing things, or, whatever it is that's causing stress or disease in their system. And so I've sort of always been doing that as a chiropractor. And then when it came down to going back and actually teaching at the uni that I went to, it sort of just came quite naturally.
That's what I've noticed working with you as well. You're so good for someone like me who is an A-type personality, borders 24/7 on the edge of deeply anxious, and any time I have an ache or pain, of course I Dr. Google it. But you've been so good for me because of that way that you educate during the sessions. The first question, just to qualify that I'm not going crazy, is do you do that with everyone?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, thank goodness. Excellent.
Part of the process. And I think it does put a lot of people at ease when, I've come across all these issues before. I've been in practice 19 years now. So we're coming up to the point where I've pretty much seen most things there are to see.
I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but yes, yeah. It's
kind
just
of at
part
that
of the
point.
job.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get to that point, there's no freak out about, oh my gosh, I've no idea what's going on with this person. It could be really, really bad. Even if it is potentially really, really bad, it just comes naturally to ask a few questions and not overact at this situation, and then point you in the right direction, whether you need to be referred on to somebody else, whether I can help with whatever's going on, and do it in a way that keeps the person nice and calm, and they know exactly what's going on. And, if it is a severe situation, we give them all the information, but in a way that you go, okay, I know what my next step is. I know how to process it. I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And it's about, building that safe space, that safe relationship, I think, with your clients. Weirdly enough, there's a lot of similarities to the work that you do in that respect, to the work that I do, say as a coach, because what you're talking about there is what I would term in the coaching world or in the performance world is state management. So being able to hold a state of grace and of calm when you're working with somebody else who might be in quite a place of pain is so important. And yet a lot of people forget about that when they're dealing with others. I want to just circle around to something that you mentioned before. You said very, very intentionally the word dis-ease rather than disease, and that resonates with me as well. In my coaching work, coming back to this, and there's a reason I'm asking you all this, I talk often with people who are struggling with confidence. And I will tell them your neurology affects your physiology. And we've had these conversations in session. Tell me about, particularly for people who are hesitant when it comes to chiropractic or who have heard stuff or seen videos and articles and things. I love it. I think it's brilliant. Talk to me about how the process of chiropractic works, just in a Monique way that I can understand, because then if you can talk to me about it, then anybody else can understand it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the most sort of basic ways we use to explain what's actually happening in the body and how chiropractic works and where that word dis-ease comes into play is it's called the safety pin cycle.
Ooh,
and so we've got your brain and your body, and it's connected by basically messages that are going from the brain down the spinal cord out to through the nerves to the rest of the body, and then the same thing back from the rest of the body up the nerves, up the spinal cord to the brain. And that process goes up and down 50 times a second, and that's how the brain controls and coordinates all of the functions of the body. And so if you imagine a safety pin, when it's closed, there's ease within the system. Those messages are communicating and getting through the system freely and going from the brain to the body, and then from the body to the brain, and the brain's processing that information properly, and then it's controlling and coordinating all the functions of the body efficiently. When you open up that safety pin and the signals or the messages aren't getting up clearly from the body to the rest of the brain can't process that information as well as it should.
Wow.
And then we get dis-ease in the system where incorrect or just not the most efficient signals are being sent out by the brain, and it affects how all the organs, all the muscles, all the glands, everything in the body functions.
So while the adjustments are felt physically when you, and everybody knows you crack backs, you do, that's how the consumer, the everyday Joe Blogs on the street, that's how we perceive chiropractic.
Yep.
It's more about the electricity and those circuits. And that can affect, can that, and this is a contentious question, I don't know if you're allowed to answer this because of advertising standards and broadcasting and health and wellbeing and all that sort of thing, but can that affect or trigger the manifestation of diseases in the body? Is that how it works? Or is it more about, do you focus more on the muscles, the skeletal side, the structural?
Yeah.
As part of that, rather than somebody who may end up with cancer or something like that?
Yeah. So the adjustment, when we find an area in the spine that's not moving and functioning as well as it should be, and this can come from physical trauma, it can come from, mental stress. The first thing we do when we get stressed out is, we go into that defensive posture, and that affects the movement of the spine. So the adjustment is really restoring that connection from the brain to the rest of the body. And when we do that, it allows the brain to process that information accordingly, and it just sort of levels up the body to allow it to heal and function the way that it's designed to, the way that it should.
Wow.
It's like, there's another little analogy, driving a car with the handbrake on. If you've got dysfunction in the spine and the nerve system's not functioning at 100%, it's like the brain's trying to drive the body with the handbrake on. You'll still move forward, things will still happen. But when we adjust the spine and bring it back into ease, that basically takes the handbrake off, allows the body to just move and function and heal the way that it's designed to.
That's just incredible. Incredible. So I've had and I talk about this because this podcast is about authenticity and real conversations. I've talked about the fact that I've had an eating disorder. I'm very upfront about that. And I know that that's impacted my well-being over the years. I had a lot of problems with connective tissues and I lost a lot of my muscle because my body basically ate it. And I've had a lot of pain over the years, and you know my spine better than I do. You know what's going on. A lot of people, and I was one of these people, are terrified, especially when it comes to sort of chest, neck adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you're the first person I've let adjust me and gone, actually, that was damn good. What is the Steve factor?
Steve factor. I think, like we were talking about before, it's sort of just allowing someone to be at ease when they're in the appointment. They know exactly what's going on. When it comes down to the little things about, performing the actual adjustment, I've, talked to them on exactly what it's going to feel like, exactly what it's going to look like. And you just sort of, there's no unknown. And then that just allows the person to relax into our hands. We can get the job done, get things moving in a way that is, it's easy. It's not, it doesn't feel forced. There's no resistance. A lot of people, feel like they're going to really tense up and not let somebody in. But if they know exactly what's going on, it's so much easier. And a lot of that is technical skill as well, which I teach at the university, and I think makes a big difference, because when you go to any healthcare professional and it's a hands-on sort of physical therapy, if you like, you're going to have great people, you're going to have good people, and you're going to have average people.
Yeah.
And so when you're technically very good, it's easy to, back up what you're saying with, actually doing the doing.
I love that. I think there's like, obviously I'm a speaker, I'm a keynote speaker, but I'm also actively in doing my work as much as I talk about it. And effectively you're doing the same thing, because you're both an educator and you're in there doing the hands-on mahi as well. Would you recommend that to in any industry, actually? Would you recommend that to other people?
If you're, I found that even when I started teaching, going back to basics and looking at the way that you're doing things and how you're just assessing someone's spine or assessing someone's lifestyle and figure out, what sort of stress is actually going into their system and what's going on. If I can teach somebody else how to do it, I can do it so much better myself. And I'm consciously doing it so much better because I'm looking at all of my little, basic things, which after you've been graduated a couple of years, you don't really think about doing, you just do them.
Yep.
But if you can go back and consciously look at the way that you're doing them and then make those little improvements because you've been teaching another student how to do it, it does make a big difference.
Well, it ups your mastery, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Makes you consciously aware of your behaviour and how you deliver on the product that you deliver on.
Yep.
I think it's beautiful. So you're the owner of 360 Chiropractic. That's what it's called.
That's the one.
Oh, yep. Excellent. Named after the fact that you have a multi-modality practice, I should say, not multidisciplinary. I suppose it's kind of the same thing. In-house you have, obviously, chiropractic. You have, what else do you have on it?
We've got podiatry, massage, and then also a nutritionist who's also a naturopath as well.
Oh, wonderful. So really a nice mixed group of practitioners, which is part of that 360 sort of approach to wellbeing, but also your 360 Remuera Road, which I thought was really cool too. A nice sort of little trade-off there, or not a trade-off, but a play on words there. And so you're looking after the whole order, the whole level of wellbeing, inside, and feet, which is cool. You're also a business owner though.
Yep. And
a lot of the people that watch and listen to this podcast are also business owners and entrepreneurs. We've come through COVID, and COVID for anybody any industry who is people facing was hard. So navigating into this new pivot time where we can see people again, life is a little hard at the moment. The recession will end. Life will change. Resilience is important. Reducing stress is important right now. You've got to kind of hang on for dear life and keep going because, it's just a short time. What do you think you've learnt from going from being someone who studied this into graduating, into doing well, going through COVID, and now you're employing others, and now you're training others? What do you think are the big life lessons you've taken from your experience as a chiropractor?
I think probably number one, health is the most important thing. I see so many people that get into they work so hard their whole lives. They get into their 50s, 60s, they start planning retirement, and then they come down with, all sorts of chronic disorders, or they really lose the movement in their system. So they get lots of osteoarthritis and degeneration and all sorts of other things. And they've earned all this money. They get to this point where they finally have lots of time and they can't even enjoy themselves.
Oh, tragic.
And so looking after yourself all the way through so that you can actually enjoy yourself when you get to that point, and enjoy yourself while you're going through the process as well, is so, so important. And so many people don't get to that point. And I think through COVID, it even highlighted that even more. People were just so stressed, even though we had, so much time off work and all sorts of stuff. People got so stressed with the whole situation, and you could see the effects that stress itself and staying at home and not having that connection with other people had, both mentally and emotionally, but also physically on their system.
Yeah.
Because people manifest a lot of their emotional stress physically in the body.
Of course. Wow. So that's a lot. So are you saying we need to look after our health and connect with more people?
Always.
Okay. Well,
Always.
Cheers to that. Cheers. Cheers to that. I support that. Kia ora. Excellent. I've got to drink now. Look, Steve, I think you're brilliant. Like I said, I've worked with lots of body practitioners, especially through my own wellbeing journey and coming through the likes of depression and anxiety myself and overcoming an eating disorder. I've worked with so many practitioners. You're the first one I've actually I felt comfortable enough to adjust my neck because I was terrified. And now when you get me into those positions and you do it and I'm like, oh, here we go. Because I know it provides so much relief. I just think it's amazing. And so if other people want to have that experience, how can they connect with you? Where's the best place to find you?
Best place to find me is, you can go to our website, 360health.co.nz. We've got Facebook and Instagram pages with the same name, 360 Chiropractic and Health Centre. And we do, if people are sort of not quite sure about it, but they want some more information, we actually offer a 10-minute free spine and posture checks where they can come into the practice. There's no charge. We sort of sit down, have a chat, have a quick check of their spine and see if chiropractic is something that can actually help them. And then if they want to go ahead with, treatment, then they book in and go from there.
Amazing.
Otherwise, they can just book straight in for the initial consultation.
Love it.
Online.
Well, Steve, you've been a game changer for me. So thank you so much. And thank you for coming into the studio today. I'm really grateful. It's cool to hear your journey, but also to see your commitment to the work you do, which isn't just about you and doing the job in clinic, but the fact that you want to spread that education to others, I think is a real mark of the human that you are. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And if you want to find out more, as he said, head to 360health.co.nz. All I can say is hand on heart, on neck, on everything. He is amazing. Cannot recommend him highly enough. I need to do some sort of Google review or something, I think, and put him out there. But yeah, really amazing. If I can go with all of the stresses and anxieties and fears that I've had and feel a million times better, maybe it's your opportunity to go to. And look, I'll come with you if you need to, just saying. Anyway, this is Monique. Thank you for watching Uncovering Authenticity or listening to Uncovering Authenticity. I'd love you to follow, subscribe, do all that magic and keep telling more stories because stories matter. Ka kite anō e noho rā.